welcome back to English for Specific Purposes Level A2. We are your hosts. I'm Mr. Carter.
And I'm Miss Sophie. Previously, we have discussed many different topics. We have talked about business, media, tourism, architecture, engineering, psychology, and today we are going to start a new topic, culinary. But before that, as always, let's look at our agenda together. Our lesson today is going to start with a brief introduction, as always. After that, we will learn new vocabulary, which will be followed by reading comprehension.
After our reading comprehension, we will have a grammar activity, followed by a quick summary of the entire lesson, and finally, just a little bit of homework.
გამარჯობა, მე სოფო ვარ, ეს კი მისტერ კარტერია. კეთილი იყოს თქვენი დაბრუნება ჩვენს ტელესკოლაში. ჩვენ წინა გაკვეთილებზე ბევრ თემას შევახეთ. ვისაუბრეთ მედიაზე, ფსიქოლოგიაზე, ბიზნესზე, ტურიზმზე, ინჟინერიაზე. დღეს კი დავიწყებთ ახალ თემას, რომელიც შეეხება კულინარიას. თუმცა ვიდრე უშუალოდ გაკვეთილზე გადავიდოდეთ, როგორც ყოველთვის, მოდით ერთად ვნახოთ დღევანდელი დღის გეგმა. დღევანდელი ჩვენი გაკვეთილი დაიწყება მოკლე შესავლით. ამის შემდეგ შევისწავლით ახალ სიტყვებს, შემდეგ წავიკითხავთ ტექსტს, შემდეგ გვექნება გრამატიკული სავარჯიშოები, ამის შემდეგ შევაჯამებთ გაკვეთილს და საბოლოოდ დავასრულებთ ყველასათვის საყვარელი საშინაო დავალებით. Shall we start?
Let's begin.
Mr. Carter, can you please tell us what is your favorite food?
Wow, Miss Sophie, that is a very good question. Well, for snacks, I would probably say my favorite food is chips and salsa. But for a meal, maybe either burgers or tacos.
Okay, that sounds great. And what is the most delicious food you have ever tasted?
The most delicious?
I know, it's quite difficult.
Wow. Well, let me think. I've eaten lots of delicious food all over the world, but the best food I ever ate, I ate at the 5th ranked restaurant in the world in Thailand.
That sounds fancy.
Amazing. Now, let's move on to our first set of vocabulary words.
ახლა კი მოდით ერთად შევისწავლოთ ახალი სიტყვები. Our first word is boil. Boil is a verb and in Georgian it means ადუღება.
Boil is a way to cook things with water. Essentially, all you do is heat water until you see bubbles and it becomes a gas. Once it reaches this point, it is boiling.
Boil, ადუღება. Boil, ადუღება.
Boil,
ადუღება. Our next word is roast. Roast is a verb and in Georgian it means შებრაწვა. Roast is a very important word in cooking.
It is, Miss Sophie. Roast means to cook something, either meat or vegetables, either over a fire or in an oven.
Roast, შებრაწვა. Roast, შებრაწვა.
Roast,
შებრაწვა. Our next word is bake. Bake is a verb and in Georgian it means გამოცხობა.
Bake is to use an oven and cook things such as bread or cakes. Baking often refers to bread and other things similar to that.
For example, cake.
Exactly, Miss Sophie.
Bake, გამოცხობა. Bake, გამოცხობა.
Bake,
გამოცხობა. Our next word is steam. Steam is a verb and in Georgian it means ორთქლში მოხარშვა.
So steam is what is produced when you boil water. When you boil water and it starts to bubble and it becomes a hot gas, that is steam. When you steam something, you essentially use the hot air coming off of boiling water to cook.
Sometimes steamed vegetables are very healthy to eat.
Definitely, Miss Sophie, and very easy to make.
That's true. Steam ორთქლში მოხარშვა. Steam ორთქლში მოხარშვა.
Steam
ორთქლში მოხარშვა. Our next word is grill. Grill is a verb and in Georgian it means grillზე შეწვა.
Grill is similar to roast in terms of cooking something over an open fire, but unlike roast, it's only used over a fire. Roast can also be used in an oven. So if you grill something, you cook it over the fire, while if you roast something, you can cook it over the fire, but probably more likely in the oven.
Grill, grillზე შეწვა. Grill, grillზე შეწვა.
Grill,
grillზე შეწვა. Our next word is fry. Fry is a verb, and in Georgian, it means shetzwa.
Fry is to cook something in oil or fat, such as butter. Most fast food or very unhealthy food is fried, because frying things is a fast way to take in lots of bad food, but fried foods are pretty delicious.
Fry, shetzwa. Fry, shetzwa.
Fry,
shetzwa. Our next word is prepare. Prepare is a verb, and in Georgian, it means მომზადება.
Prepare simply means to make something ready to use. In cooking, before you heat up the food or cook it in any sort of way like boiling or frying or roasting, you probably need to prepare the food to make sure it is ready.
Prepare, მომზადება. Prepare, მომზადება. Prepare, მომზადება.
And now, let's move on to our vocabulary exercise in which we will match the vocabulary words with the sentence that best fits.
ახლა კი ერთად გავაკეთოთ ლექსიკური სავარჯიშო. ეკრანზე მოცემულია წინადადებები, სადაც გამოტოვებულია სიტყვები. ჩვენ ერთად უნდა გადავწყვიტოთ, რომელი სიტყვა შეესაბამება ყველაზე მეტად გამოტოვებულ ადგილებს. Let's start.
Let's begin.
Our first sentence reads, when I was younger, I used to help my mom blank the food for dinner. Mr. Carter, what do you think? What is the best word for this sentence?
Well, Miss Sophie, the problem with this sentence is that so many words fit. But, like you said, we want to find the best word. So, the best word that fits is not any of the cooking words, but actually the words you do before you cook something. And that is prepare.
You're absolutely right, Mr. Carter. When I was younger, I used to help my mom prepare the food for dinner. Prepare is the right answer. Let's have a look at another sentence now. You can cook eggs in many ways, but the healthiest way to eat them is to something them. What do you think? What is the best fit?
Well, Miss Sophie, frying eggs is not healthy, though it is delicious. I don't think you can grill eggs.
I don't think so.
I don't think you can bake eggs.
Yeah, you're
or
right.
steam eggs. But I know you can boil eggs, and that is the healthiest way to eat them.
You're probably right. Boil is the right answer. Let's have a look at another sentence now. When I was a baby, my mom used to blank fish so it was soft and easy for me to eat. Mr. Carter, what do you think? What do you do with the fish to make it soft and easy to eat?
Well, Miss Sophie, it depends on the fish and it depends on how you like your fish cooked, but if you're going to serve a baby fish, it needs to be healthy. So if you fry it, it could be soft but very unhealthy. If you boil
because
it,
of the fats, right?
Exactly. And I don't know if you could boil it. That just might be weird. So I think the best answer is steam.
You are right. If you steam fish, all the vitamins will be remained in the food. So the right answer is steam. Let's have a look at another sentence now. I like to blank food, but I don't do it too much because it is very unhealthy. What do you think? What kind of food is very unhealthy?
Well, Miss Sophie, we have talked about this several times. The most unhealthy way to cook anything is to fry it. So, I think fry is the answer.
You are absolutely right. Fry is the right answer. Let's see our next sentence now. My mom is good at baking, but my dad is very good at meat and fish. What do you think? What do you do with the meat and the fish to prepare?
Well, Miss Sophie, something that you can do with meat and fish is cook it over an open fire, and that means to grill. And this is actually similar to my household. My mom is excellent at baking, but my dad is excellent at grilling meat and fish.
Very tasty. I'm getting hungry. Let's have a look at another sentence now. My dad likes to fry chicken with a garlic sauce, but my mom prefers to blank chicken in the oven with the potatoes and vegetables. Mr. Carter, what do you think is the right answer?
Well, Miss Sophie, I think the best answer is roast. You can say bake, but that technically isn't right. It doesn't work. So roast the chicken with the vegetables and potatoes. Those are the key words in this sentence. I think it is roast.
You are right. Roast is the right answer. And now let's look at the very last sentence. People blank bread in many different and delicious ways. Mr. Carter, what do you think? What is the best fit here?
Well, Miss Sophie, we're down to one word anyway, so we know what the answer is going to be. But the key word is bread. The best way, and in many cases, the only way to make bread is to bake it. It's very difficult to fry bread or grill bread, so...
Or to boil bread.
Or to boil bread, right, even better. So the best way to make bread, and often the only way to make bread, is to bake it.
Absolutely right, Mr. Carter.
Now, let's move on to our second set of vocabulary related to the reading portion we will do later.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ ახალ სიტყვებზე. ეს სიტყვები უშუალოდ ტექსტიდან არის ამოკრეფილი და ისინი დაგეხმარებათ ტექსტის უკეთ გააზრებაში. Our very first word is average. Average is an adjective and in Georgian it means sashwalo.
Average is the amount or level that is a standard to a group of people or to an individual person.
Average, sashwalo. Average, sashwalo.
Average,
sashwalo. Our next word is vegetarian. Vegetarian is a noun and in Georgian it means vegetarianeli.
Vegetarian means someone who chooses not to eat fish or meat, or any fish products or meat products. So if you're a vegetarian, you probably still don't eat eggs because they come from a chicken.
Vegetarian, vegetarianeli. Vegetarian, vegetarianeli.
Vegetarian,
vegetarianeli. Our next word is flavor. Flavor is a noun and in Georgian it means gemo an aromati.
Flavor is a particular taste that food or drink has. So every time you taste something, that is the flavor that you are tasting.
Flavor, gemo an aromati. Flavor, gemo an aromati. Flavor, gemo an aromati. Our next word is meal. Meal is a noun and in Georgian it means sajmeli.
Meal is an occasion when you eat, such as breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Meal, sajmeli. Meal, sajmeli.
Meal,
sajmeli. Our next word is waiter. Waiter is a noun and in Georgian it means mimtani.
Waiter is a man or boy who brings you your food and drinks when you go to a restaurant. And the female word for waiter is waitress. So, boy, waiter, girl, waitress.
Waiter, mimtani. Waiter, mimtani.
Waiter,
mimtani. Our next word is restaurant. Restaurant is a noun and in Georgian it means restorani.
A restaurant is a building or room where food and drinks are sold to customers or guests.
Restaurant, restorani. Restaurant, restorani.
Restaurant,
restorani. Our next and the last word in this set of vocabulary is delicious. Delicious is an adjective and in Georgian it means ძალიან გემრიელი.
Delicious means very pleasant to either taste or smell. So if you eat something or smell something that makes you hungry, that is probably very delicious.
Delicious, ძალიან გემრიელი. Delicious, ძალიან გემრიელი. Delicious, ძალიან გემრიელი.
Now let's move on to our reading activity.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ კითხვის დავალებაზე. Mr. Carter, What was your best restaurant experience?
Well, Miss Sophie, like I talked about in the introduction, when I was in Thailand a year or two ago, I ate at the 5th best restaurant in the whole world.
What made that experience so unique?
Well, the kitchen was in front of you and the cooks would talk to you while they cooked, and all the plates were different colors and different sizes, and it was just very interesting and had lots of surprises. It was very exciting.
I'm very happy that you mentioned look, sight, and the taste. Actually, we are going to have a text about this. The title of our text today is Not Your Average Dining Experience.
Well, this is exciting.
Exactly. A good meal is an experience that includes many senses: taste, smell, touch, and of course, sight. We enjoy looking at the colors, shapes, and designs of food on the plate. However, in one London restaurant named Dans le Noir, guests must enjoy their food in complete darkness. This may seem shocking to some people, but the owner of the restaurant says that by eating in darkness, it allows the customers to appreciate the flavors of the food. Also, the owners want to bring people's attention to blindness.
The menu is just as unique as the experience. The guest can choose from one of 4 surprise menus: the chef's menu, personally prepared by the chef, the seafood menu, the meat eater's menu, or the vegetarian menu. The guest has no idea what is one menu and what is the other, and has to figure it out as they eat. This might sound stressful to some, but according to the owners, the guests love being surprised about what they eat. It's like a game where they try to figure out what they're eating as they're eating it. But as fun as this sounds, it could be a scary experience. Imagine a waiter walking through a dark room and bumping into a guest or another waiter while carrying a plate of food and dropping it all to the ground. Luckily, all the waiters are very well trained on how they move so they don't cause any accidents.
A guest's thoughts. When asked about it afterwards, one guest talked about how different it was. She said, "When you arrive, the waiters take your phone, watch or camera, or anything that could be used as a light. It is so dark, you can't see your hands, but soon you get used to it and it becomes fun. It is exciting talking to people you can't see. During eating, you realize how important sight is in everyday life, and it makes you appreciate being able to see. Oh, and the food is really delicious." Dans le Noir is a still popular restaurant, and if you are ever in London, it might be worth going in order to have an amazing experience.
Now, let's move on to the reading activity in which we will read one sentence and determine if it is true or false based on what we read in the text.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ კითხვის დავალებაზე. ეკრანზე მოცემულია წინადადება, ჩვენ ერთად უნდა გადავწყვეტოთ ეს წინადადება შეესაბამება თუ არ შეესაბამება ტექსტს. თუ წინადადება შეესაბამება ტექსტს, ამ შემთხვევაში ვამბობთ true, ხოლო თუ წინადადება არ შეესაბამება ტექსტს, ამ შემთხვევაში ვამბობთ false. Let's start. Our first sentence is Dans le Noir is located in Paris. Mr. Carter, let's check how attentive you were listening to me. What do you think? Is it in Paris or somewhere else?
Well, Miss Sophie, I think that you think I wasn't paying attention, but I was. Even though it has a French name, it is located in London.
You are absolutely right, which makes this sentence false. Let's have a look at another sentence. The waiters are not well trained. I think you read something about it.
I did, Miss Sophie. If you're going to work in a restaurant in complete darkness, I'm pretty sure you have to be very well trained. That way you don't make any mistakes. So I would say this is false.
False, absolutely. This sentence is false because, as text said, waiters are very well trained. Our next sentence is, when you arrive, they take your phone and camera. Mr. Carter, I think I read this text. What do you think? Is this sentence true or false?
Miss Sophie, just to prove that I was paying close attention, I think the sentence is true because I remember you said they take your phone, watch, or camera, or anything that could be used as a source of light.
You are absolutely right, Mr. Carter. Well done. Good job. This sentence is true. Let's have a look at another sentence. You get to choose exactly what you want, and it is not a surprise. What do you think, Mr. Carter? Is this sentence true or false?
Miss Sophie, this sentence is false because I remember reading the section where they talked about you can choose from one of 4 menus, but they don't tell you what you're going to get. You can pick either chef's menu, seafood menu, meat lover's menu, or vegetarian, but you don't know what food you're going to get on those menus.
You are absolutely right, Mr. Carter. Well done. This sentence is false, and you mentioned all the menus correctly.
I pay attention when it comes to food. Now, let's move on to our grammar section.
ახლა კი გადავიდეთ გრამატიკის ნაწილზე. On the screen, you see there are 3 different sentences. I may go back there sometime soon. This might sound stressful to some, but according to the owners, the guests love being surprised about what they eat. And the last one, but as fun as this sounds, it could also be a scary experience. May, might, and could are highlighted because they are modal auxiliary verbs. Modal auxiliary verbs may, might, and could do not need conjugation. It means that in third person singular, it will stay as is. For example, he might cook. Modal auxiliary verbs are special because they do not need any other auxiliary verbs to form negative and question forms. For example, could you cook for me? He might not be able to join us. Modal auxiliary verbs are also followed by an infinitive without to, or bare infinitive. He might be late. As for the meaning, may, might, and could show possibility or probability. For example, it could snow tomorrow. It may be difficult to bake this tart. He might bake a cake. Could shows ability. I could make food on my own when I was 7 years old. We could use could and may when we want to take permission. Could you send me the recipe for this cake, please? May I use your oven? Now let's move to grammar exercise. In this exercise, we have words taken out from the sentences. We need to decide which modal verb fits the best to the sentence. The first sentence reads, I blank join my friends, but I am not sure. Well, if you are not sure, all 3 of these modal verbs can be the best fit. I can say I might join my friends, I'm not sure. I may join my friends, I'm not sure. Or I could join my friends, I'm not sure. In this one, we have a question. Blank, you help me prepare food. So you are asking for somebody's help. In this case, you need could. Could you please help me prepare food? Students blank use books during the exams. Students may use books during the exams. This cake blank not be as good as the previous one. So this is a possibility or probability. Therefore, we can say this cake may not be as good as the previous one.
Now, let's move on to our summary. In today's lesson, we talked about culinary-related vocabulary as far as cooking techniques. After that, we read a very interesting text about a restaurant that serves customers in the dark, followed by grammar talking about modal verbs.
ახლა კი დროა შევაჯამოთ დღევანდელი გაკვეთილი. დღეს ჩვენ შევისწავლეთ ახალი სიტყვები, წავიკითხეთ ტექსტი და ვისაუბრეთ გრამატიკაზე. ახლა კი დროა გადავიდეთ საშინაო დავალებაზე. For your homework, we want you to write a paragraph about your favorite restaurant experience. You can upload your homework on the address given on the screen. Do not forget to use vocabulary and the grammar that we have taught you today. And the template is given for you, but please do not copy-paste. We know you can do better. Our next lesson is going to be culinary again. Do not miss it. It's going to be very interesting. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.